And we are live with no technical difficulties, it seems.
Are we not? Are we double checking everything?
I just double checked everything because we've lost some footage recently, which was very frustrating. Especially we made up for it on one end, but they'll never know those mean things Tyler said to Carrot fans from that One Piece time.
I would never say anything.
Tyler loves Carrot.
Yeah, I love Carrot.
Carrot is Tyler's favorite character.
Scathing stuff.
I am a furry through and through.
I love your background, Tyler. Very romantic.
Yeah, what's with the flowers?
It's springtime.
It's true. No, it's not. It's big
summer. Wait, no. Summer
It's
officially starts June 21st, so he's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
It's springtime.
You know what? That's a bunch of bullshit.
That is a bunch of bullshit.
Because I go outside, I feel like I'm going to melt every once in a while. I love it, but...
I'm not a fan. Okay, welcome to the Roundabout cast, episode
53? 54?
7? It's a 51.
It's 54.
Yeah.
I'm joined here with Joe and Tyler. Missing is our beloved Bradley boy, who could not be here.
Bradley has some personal business that he has to attend to, so cannot make it.
But there's some things that we'll save for... that we'll briefly mention, but we'll save to talk with him when he's on next time. But what have you guys been up to? Well, since we didn't have a podcast while we were out on vacation, one thing we all did recently was come back from Disney and Universal.
Yeah.
Round two.
Round two.
Hopefully not the last, because these are very fun trips.
Yeah, Bradley could not make it to this one for a number of reasons, COVID-related, work-related. So we were instead, it was me, Willer, and Tyler, and as well as Tyler's significant other, who was pretty clutch city giving us tickets to Universal, which is why we went, basically. And it saved us about, $400. No big deal.
Big deal.
Deep fans of the podcast, all 2 or 3 of y'all might have actually seen Kelly before, because she's snuck by that one time.
Yeah. Just talk about Tyler's hair.
We went to Magic Kingdom the first day, and then we went to Universal the second day. We took a break day, and then we finished it off with Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. We did not go to Hollywood, unfortunately, because of the reservation system at Disney, so we weren't able to get tickets.
They're trying to limit how many people can go. Is that the reasoning? Yeah.
And there's talks that they might keep that. I am a big fan of please don't do that, because it eliminates a lot of the fun I have. So the way I usually go to Disney is I usually just go for 2 or 3 days to get park hoppers, and I go to multiple parks multiple days, because I'll go to Animal Kingdom, I'll ride Dinosaur, then Everest, and then I'll hop over to Hollywood. Or I'll be in Epcot and I'll hop over to Magic Kingdom. I'll do everything basically in those few days. But that's been very limited now because it's by restrictions. But Universal, it was the first time I've been to Universal again since 2017, and Willard's first ever time.
Yeah, I loved Universal. It was packed.
It was packed.
You kept saying that Universal is like a bit of a grungier, dirtier Disney. None of that impacted me. It was fine.
I didn't think it would impact you. It's just my opinions on that.
Yeah. You're like a park psychopath, though.
I am. Yeah. I'm not going to deny it. However, we did get lucked out because we went the one day, or one of the days, where they were just doing public technical rehearsals for their new ride.
Yeah, Velocicoaster.
Velocicoaster is the best thing I rode, maybe one of my favorite roller coasters of all time now. It was so fun.
It was one of the best. There's a section on that ride where you are upside down, not twirling upside down, fully upside down, just going straight for 2 seconds over water. You're nope.
So good. Yeah. Horrifying. Loved it.
We won the single rider line for that ride. It's still a 20-30 minute wait. I was very hesitant to make it go on that ride, but I'm very glad that we did it.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's just it was at the end of the day, and I am I have stamina for days for going to theme parks. Like I will literally go from park open to park closed, no problem. But like Willard, Kelly was dying by the end of that day.
Yeah, no, I can do like I can do like 5-ish hours on that 6th hour. I'm like, oh
yeah.
At Universal, we did like 10 miles total that day.
Yeah,
like our average was about 8 miles every day.
Yeah.
Universal and Islands of Adventure was 10 miles, and that's like that. That is like a that's a long day of hiking if you think about it.
Yeah,
and it's on concrete too.
Yeah. And we did take breaks. Like it's not like we walked like the entire like 5 or 6 hours we were there. We sat and got lunch and everything.
We did go to the Simpsons food place, which was
Moe's
great.
Tavern.
Yeah, Moe's Tavern.
What made me happy about that is that the three of us were just sitting there watching Simpsons clips, and they're old clips that we've probably all seen 100 times, but like every time they made me laugh.
God, that train clip is great. But I hope next time we do get to go to Hollywood Studios, because that is my favorite of the Disney parks. But like, the Animal Kingdom has these drinks that we made sure to get. We got to get those. Magic Kingdom is just always a delightful time. It just feels fresh being in Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom, like literal, it's like, I don't want to say magical, but it is. Like you get there and you're like, I'm in fucking Disney World. Like things are just kind of good right now, especially because like all the rides there. Like, I don't think we waited more than 30 minutes for a ride at Magic Kingdom. We walked on the Space Mountain twice. Like, when I mean walked on, we walked into the line queue and walked straight onto the ride, essentially.
Space Mountain is great.
Yeah.
Not to make this a whole Disney cast, but we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of stuff together, which will be brought up on this podcast.
Yeah.
For
Chicken
example,
guys, though.
Oh my God. Yeah, if you're ever at Disney and you go to Disney Springs, eat at Chicken Guy's. That place is a Guy Fieri joint, which now that I think about it, it's called Chicken Guy because he's Guy Fieri. I feel you. Okay, I get it. That place is delicious. We ate there twice, and I've thought about it multiple times since. Just some good-ass fucking chicken.
We got taken to Flavor Town. We just have to accept it.
Dominated into Flavor Town. For some like brief things that we did, me and Joe played a good amount of Teppen at night while we were just chilling. I got him like sort of caught up with a deck that he can use.
Teppen real fun once you get a deck. That's like every card game, but once you get a deck going, it's a lot of fun.
I've Phoenix Wright officially came out. He's impossible to get. My heart is deeply broken. I hope they make him easier to get in the future, but I won't dive into how many lost dollars were spent on a fucking skin.
I was about to say, you're not spending enough money if you don't have the characters you want.
I think I spent plenty of money, Tyler.
Yeah.
And we shall not go back. The Strive beta happened right as we came back from our trip. So Joe and I played. Actually, Tyler played some of that, and
I suck at Strive.
The usual Tyler like gets beat up, gets deflated. If he's not beating me in Dragon Ball Fighters, he's just not feeling it.
I don't think that's true because I will literally win 1/5 of our matches.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah, I have a great time the whole time. But I don't hate Strive. I'm still gonna get it. I just need to definitely practice more because it feels like it's an original like classic style fighting game.
A little bit, yeah.
It's not 6-button, but it has a lot more depth than Dragon Ball for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think I really really like Strive. Like I've just been sitting here like it comes out in 2 weeks, and I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but like I woke up like one morning or something. I was like, I was playing at night, and I was like, I'm gonna play some Strive, and I think I won like 5 sets in a row.
Yeah, look at this character development. This is what
I perfected some Potemkin scrub. Who actually I say scrub, but he nearly beat me.
You stole that round.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You showed me a video, and that was a robbery. But then he perfected him. It was Joe's first online perfect.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
The goal is to start getting angry mails again from people.
Dude, those are rare, but I still do get those sometimes.
I got one in Grand Blue when I played a dude. He's like, nice 3-bar F word. I was like, good, I did it.
I caught up on some Demon Slayer, as in I read the Mugen Train arc, so I'm a little bit closer to where y'all are at. I don't know if I want to keep going or wait till the anime, because the action is just not as impressive in the manga. They're like that. The artist just it doesn't really have oomph in some scenes, but the Demon Train arc's kind of interesting. And I've seen this sentiment now that I've looked into it, but like no one gave a crap about the character of Rengoku, even when they read it in the manga after the arc. Apparently, the movie makes the character likable, but like Rengoku is just kind of there, and he's just like a very one-dimensional, straightforward guy. Not in a bad way. He's like an enjoyable character, but like there's just like, he's just a dude who's trying to like live up to the expectations of his father in his own way. And he's a very positive man.
I think the voice actor for Rengoku in the movie did just like I saw it subbed, but like I don't know, it gave a lot more life to the character. I was like, okay, I'm a little bit more attached to this man now that he has a speaking voice, and there's just a little bit more. There's a little bit more warmth to him. Yeah. I think in that film. So I do think that's a big plus of that. Is that this character is someone that I actually empathize with. And do you understand now why when I said the end of Mugen Train just feels kind of weird for an anime movie with where it ends off?
No, I think it makes sense. It's not even an anime movie problem. It's just a structural problem of like the final villain of that arc is literally introduced out of nowhere. Yeah. He just shows up and he fights.
Yeah.
And it's like no matter if that was an anime episode or a movie, that was janky no matter how you slice it.
It felt like I wanted tragedy to happen. Oh, fuck, I forgot to say it.
Other minor things that I can bring up. I played the Super Bomberman online game that came out. It is the Bomberman Battle Royale.
Like little black boy that puts bombs down and you make crosses?
Bomberman. Yeah, Bomberman. It's free. Everyone should check it out. The big weakness of this game is the incredibly long time to get to a match because it's like big loads. Just not seem optimized. It is crossplay, so that's really nice.
Is finding a match easy? So it's just a loading optimization?
Yeah, finding a match is easy. The loading optimization is bad. So the way it works is, you know how Bomberman's set in this grid, right? And you walk around. Yeah. When the match starts, you're randomly placed in one of those grids, but there's like 8x8 of those grids. So like there's different little stages. And in between rounds, you can like walk to a different stage, and like you're all walking to a stage. Like, holy shit, there's 7 people in this stage. Let me walk to another one, and then sometimes you do a round when you're the only person in the stage. So you're just like bombing stuff and picking up power ups. I think they did it really cleverly.
It's very battle royale-esque, where it's like you drop in a random spot and you.
It's a battle royale, yeah, but you can move to different spots in between rounds. There's also different playable characters, and they have like different caps at which their abilities can go to, but there's also like a bunch of Konami characters. Like you can play as Alucard or Solid Snake or Raiden or like a bunch of other Konami characters, and they have unique skills. You can play as Pyramid Head. Like it's just super goofy. I think it's pretty fun, but the time to play does make it like exhausting to play in a burst.
Goes down the point.
While we were at Disney, we watched Raya and the Last Dragon, which quickly became Tyler's favorite Disney film of all time.
I hate this movie.
Yo,
Tyler was upset. He was like,
I don't want to say disappointing, but like,
I will say good things. It was a very well animated movie.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
The music and audio were great.
I think the setting was cool, if not underutilized.
I think the actual like the character design and the setting design and everything looked great. It felt like a good mix of like Asian cultures. Yeah, you can kind of see a good variety of them and see the differences in them.
I hated the writing.
Yeah, the writing in this movie is actually atrocious.
I think they said, let's have the interns have this one.
Oh
no.
I think they threw the interns on
Man,
this
when
one.
Tyler wants to be mean, he is the meanest person I know.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I don't hate the writing as much as everyone else did, but it wasn't good. I can't, like, defend it either. You know?
Willer's a big writer boy more than me. I know. A simpleton.
Yeah.
No, but like your complaints were pretty founded. Like the internal consistency of the movie made little sense. Like there was these MacGuffins where it was very important. Like the whole movie is like a chase and switch off and hand off.
It's
of
Avatar.
These MacGuffins.
It's light version of Avatar.
Yeah.
No, because like with these MacGuffins, one problem that we all had was like, why are you taking every single MacGuffin into the enemy strongholds every time? Like, what will happen if they get all of them or steal them from you? And it does become a problem.
Is MacGuffins just like a replacer word you're using?
A MacGuffin?
Oh, you've never heard of a MacGuffin?
No.
A MacGuffin is a movie term in which it's an object that the audience doesn't care for, but the characters in the movie do. It's like the primary source of motivation for the characters.
Okay.
I didn't know it was specifically for things the audience doesn't care about. Like the Dragon Balls are a MacGuffin. The Crystal Skull from Indiana Jones, it's a MacGuffin.
When you say doesn't care about, it means that like the relative attachment from us to like the Death Star plans in Star Wars are a MacGuffin. We don't really have an attachment to that, but we have an attachment to R2-D2 and Luke Skywalker, which is why we care about them. So it's just a thing as a layer of separation from the audience.
But basically, like there's these like pieces of a gem that they were like carrying around, and I just do not appreciate the treatment of those. There's also like these rules of like there's a big Calamity Ganon is in the movie.
Yeah.
And when he turns you to stone, you become like a very specific statue, except when you don't.
I feel like a big part of this movie that really hinders it is the time frame, because it's like the entirety of this movie happens like within like 10 years or something like that. Like you start with Raya starts as a little girl, and then the catastrophic event happens, and then she's an adult. So like a generation hasn't even gone by. So like this is still new to people. So there's not that sense of in my internal mind, there is no reason for the leaders to not try to help each other and try to figure out how to fix this, because it hasn't been a long enough time.
The whole point is like they were all vying for power, because they said that like the capital that had the gem, they were fine and they thought the world was fine, but everyone's like, no, things suck in our lands. We want.
They were the most wealthy.
Yeah. Everybody's got these stupid magic rocks that they literally treat like they all act like cave people with like their first bit of fire, and they're like, oh, this fire, this my fire, and they throw them on the ground. They keep them in purses.
I feel like
really don't do anything to treat these life-saving
put
crystals.
Them in a staff, and I was like, thank you.
Oh, also, let's talk about the main antagonist. No motivation for this character the entire story whatsoever. They're a bad guy for literally no reason.
Yeah, not very compelling.
Biggest plot hole is the main character is literally traversing across the countryside, and I'm going to use the word, is only safe from the impending doom because of their MacGuffin. They literally show in like the second segue scene of the character, like she's traversing across the countryside. There's evil spirits. She holds up the MacGuffin
and repels the spirits.
Yeah, and literally she's being stalked the entire time by the main antagonist, like being followed, and they do not have a MacGuffin, and it's made very clear they do not have one.
Yeah, that is bad. Also, like the dragon.
It doesn't feel
the dragon's power set was a little consistent at times. That was a little weird.
My favorite was like, oh, I glow now. This was my sister's power. Wow, your sister sucks.
My brother Pangu. I was like, I feel like every sibling's been named Pangu. Which wasn't the case, but we cracked up over it anyways.
Yeah.
Also, the dragon's design's just not great.
Horrendous.
Anywho, very Aquafina humor. Which is what I've heard. But I don't know. Not the best. Like Disney's kind of been shitty lately. IMO. The live action movies, I hear nothing but bad things. The animated movies have been lackluster. They're kind of on a
What was
dark
the one
age.
before Raya?
Before Raya was Frozen 2, which people also don't like.
I like Frozen 2.
Okay. I feel like the general consensus is that people don't like Frozen 2.
Man, they have an 80s ballad in it that the guy sings because he's letting his woman do her own thing and be an independent, strong woman, and he's confused about how to find his place in the world, but she really needs his support the whole time, so it becomes a supportive home husband. And I'm like, yo, get it, man. That's nice. That's modern.
I also hear that relationship has like nothing to do with the plot of the movie. It's like very
It doesn't. Like
cool.
I think another thing
he's being side piece the entire movie, but they acknowledge it.
Yeah. I will say a linking factor in both of these movies is that I feel like the main motivation for the characters has just not been good, and they're not relatable or like empathetic.
But then you also have like shitty Mulan and Cruella, which I'm sure Cruella's a fun movie.
Which is the same problem.
But I've heard some spoilers that have me
I really want to watch Cruella because of what I've heard.
I've seen a clip where a dog fucking super combos a woman off a cliff, and it's like the dogs are bad. Horrible.
This is why dogs are bad. I hate all dogs.
Dogs bad. It's okay to skin them.
I think, but I think that's the big problem is that the motivation for characters has been very lackluster. So, it's upsetting. Pixar's coming out with
getting old.
Yeah, we are getting old. Pixar's coming out with Luca, which is about two fish boys coming to land, which I'm very excited to see. Looks very cute.
I'm sure Pixar still has it.
I am lukewarm about Luca.
Oh,
I liked Moana, but I know like a lot of people don't like Moana, so like that.
Moana's a Disney
okay. Film. Moana's beautiful though.
Yeah.
Moana.
And then like before that, you have like Big Hero 6, which is like everyone could admit Big Hero 6 pretty mid.
What? What is Willer on about now?
Okay, never mind. I thought Big Hero 6 was kind of mid, but
let's move on.
Let's move on. Wait, what did you just say?
I said Big Hero 6 brought us Aunt Cass. Or as the fans know her as Aunt Ass.
Okay. Well, I heard Big Ass and I thought of Go-Go, so it all works.
Go-Go is also in there.
Anyways, on my flight home, I watched a movie named The Kid Detective, which I want to briefly mention. This is a fun movie. I think you guys would enjoy it. It is about a washed-up, late 20, mid-30, in that range-year-old kid detective who was like, when he was 12, he was really good at solving like small-time crimes in the city.
He was a young adult novel protagonist.
Yes.
Like Nancy Drew
and
kind
like
of thing.
Some of the stuff he solved was pretty impressive, and like the city like paid for him to have a whole little office with a kid like secretary, and now they're both grown up and like they're both adults and they're still doing it, but like he hasn't really solved any big cases. And a pivotal moment in his life is when he's a kid. He's not able to solve the case of a kidnapped girl. And that, like, pressure that the town puts on him really gets to him. And, like, his life spirals down heavily since then. And now he's investigating the murder of a student at the school. And that student's girlfriend is teaming up with him because she really wants to see closure to this. And she's just, like, a very fun, like...
Good Maya.
Plain vanilla sidekick girl, but like I say this in a way where like she plays off of the deadbeat detective very well. And this murder like goes places. It's really fun. The movie's like I kind of like deadbeat main characters. They're slowly growing as like my favorite archetype. But
as you become more old and grumpy, you begin to appreciate those kind of people.
That might say a lot about me. But like this movie's end gets very dark and very serious, and I was not prepared. It gets fucked up, and I very much enjoyed it. Great movie. Saw the like 4 out of 5 for me.
It's on my watch list. Red Letter Media did a video about it. I was like, oh, this sounds good. I think it's only on Stars right now, or I have to buy it.
It came out in movie theaters. That's why. Like, you're supposed to go to the movies again now, apparently.
Yeah. What's next? So we all watched Invincible together. So
And like, yeah,
keynote. The day before we went to Disney, I started Invincible and I finished it all in one day. I was fucking hooked.
which actually was a blessing because Willard would have been fucked otherwise.
Why?
Because you checked your flight information because you were up so late.
No, it was a blessing because I was up so late. I decided to randomly check my emails and realize my flight change didn't go through. So I saved myself a headache that I would have had to do at the airport, freaking the fuck out.
Meanwhile, I was having a panic attack going to the airport because like, I swear to God, Willard won't be able to get on a plane.
I didn't even say anything. I was like, guys, don't panic. My flight's fucked up. I'm going to handle it. And then the first thing Joe does is wake up and panics. It's like, we had time. I had to pay extra, but it's fine.
When Willard mentioned that like Tyler got here in 24 hours, I should be fine. He's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Tyler like completely magicked himself to Disney last time we went. So
got a gummy ship. All right, but yeah, Invincible.
Invincible's really good. Another like solid 4 out of 5 for me because like all the characters were well written, even the annoying girlfriend. Though like she's probably like her plot line's probably the worst part of the show.
Probably the weakest part.
Just because like at one point she's like, I know you were invincible, and then like, but then some of your actions previously, like, why were you so hard on him? But
well, it's like well, I'm also okay with it because like they are high schoolers, so like they don't understand that thing of trust because it's kind of shitty of her to say that and then be like, I was testing you. Like that's kind of shitty to do because you're not communicating with him that you know something. But
no, yeah,
I see
like
where you're coming from.
Like Mark is a shitty boyfriend.
Yeah,
but he's got stuff going on too.
Mm-hmm. I really like the show. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. It was very much though like it got that Justice League vibe from my Cartoon Network going on, which I really liked. And then like, but the really interesting stuff was the more darker tone things that was happening in the background.
I think this like I get hesitant about stories with the evil Superman.
Was Superman bad?
I just think that trope's kind of outplayed now, and I don't really like stories revolving around that trope. Like I barely like The Boys. Like it is a very weird show that I kind of like, because it's just not in my wheelhouse. So like that's doing good on that case, and in here, I think the reason why it works for me is that it's always optimistic. You know, like even like after the most crushing shit happens to the characters, I think they bring the mood up and make you feel good again. Mm-hmm. And boy, does Mark go through some things because for a guy named Invincible, he really gets his shit pushed in.
Yeah, what about trains though?
Yeah, like the show starts with Mark being trained by Omni-Man, and it ends with Mark being trained by Omni-Man.
Yep. That's all I have to say about that.
Episode 8 is hard to watch. It made me feel like shit. It made me feel like a pitiful human being. And
I felt very fragile during that entire episode.
Yes.
Like,
I thrived in the chaos that I knew that was going to occur.
Yeah.
It was well set up. I thought
it was great.
Yeah. Good setup. Good show. Don't spoil it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a video about like the comic versus the TV show.
I think I saw this too.
And apparently the ending conversation in episode 8 happens in like chapter 5 or 7 or something like that.
It is like they stretched it out for the benefit of this story.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a benefit of that is all the side characters are so likable. The Mauler twins, Metalhead, all of his lines crack me up. The weird
I know where you live.
Cat. I know where your family lives. The weird cat furry dude who shows up for one episode. You're like, dude.
Oh yeah, who beats the shit out of everybody?
That dude's insane.
Rengar.
I like the
Rengar top.
Rengar top. Fad Rengar, that guy. What is the name of like the mini Justice League?
The Guardians of the Globe.
The Guardians of the Globe. The second set of Guardians of the Globe are very likable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like this show is great. It had a good stinger off of the first episode, which I found out like Bradley showed up to work and he was like, "Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty good. I liked the scene where like Mark is training with his dad." I was like, "Cool." And then I got home the other day. I was like, It's kind of weird that he didn't mention the big thing in episode 1. Let me check that he watched it. And then he didn't, and he's never going to watch the show now because Bradley's Bradley. But I was
they should have told me.
But, like, yeah, like, I feel like that stinger on the first episode really hooks you. Mm-hmm. And then the show just keeps going with pretty good
That stinger got spoiled to me on Twitter because it was being tested out. Everyone was like, but like that for the show's benefit, that made me actually want to watch the show more. I was like, oh.
And also to the show's benefit, despite being memed the fuck out of like the pivotal scene of the season with the think Mark think, that scene still got me in the gut because what wasn't spoiled to me was Mark's response to that line, which hit me so hard. That was right here, man. Right here. But that's good Invincible. Show. Looking forward to season.
Recommend.
Yeah.
Totally worth Amazon Prime for.
Definitely. Look, they've already greenlit season 2 and 3, and I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah.
Tyler, why don't we talk about a little game called Returnal? Because I played it last podcast, and then you played it, and you played the fuck out of it.
Returnal's this easy game that came out on PS5. This is a challenge for anybody. I beat this game in 3 deaths. So if you can beat Returnal in 3 deaths or less, props to you. I know I've seen somebody do it in 0.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment on your death record for Returnal.
Thing is, like, even beating it at 3 deaths, you can't deny that the game isn't like blood bumplingly like engaging the entire time. Like it's always the difficulty is always there.
There's a system in it called adrenaline, and it goes away if you get hit. And it's like literally adrenaline pumping because you're like, can't get hit. And you're literally in a bullet hell.
Yes. I would watch Tyler go through the bosses, and he would just be quiet for like minutes at a time, and then he would take a deep breath afterwards. The bosses are so good in this game. They're incredible.
I probably, like... I don't want to say anything about the story or potentially lack thereof, depending on who you are. I enjoyed Returnal as a wholly next-gen experience. It has environment and world building as opposed to character development, which is what draws me in. I don't really care about a character's story. I'm invested in this world and this mystery.
Classic.
I think Celine is a great character that the game is portrayed through.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
I like I think everything about it's great. It handles way different than I expected the game to handle, like off of watching a trailer. Yeah. I did not expect the game to handle so well, so tight. It's so well polished.
The controls feel so buttery smooth.
Yeah. Apart from the launch that had like a couple of like rough things, that's kind of expected considering that a lot of people, like a lot of developers are dealing with next-gen hardware before next-gen hardware even had their shit down.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, imagine living your day-to-day life without Google or anything. And I mean, some people do it, sadly, but like
they're writing the playbook right now in next-gen.
Yeah. They did a great job. I think for a roguelite, I've said this before, people know that I don't like Hades. But I love Returnal.
Like me and Tyler would stay up and like kind of also theory craft the lore, and I still haven't like dived into theories yet because I still need to get the true ending. I can't find the 6th sun fragment. It is so difficult for me for some reason. I either die there or just not find it.
I will say this game is best enjoyed if you are a player who kind of likes to do everything. When you get a game, like you like if you're given like a computer that has logs on it and you like to go in and read the lore, you're that type of person. If you like to explore every nook and cranny, it's very much catered for a slowed down, like, I have 4 or 5 hours today to play some video games. I want to do that. It's difficult to do in
bursts,
short sessions, which is the biggest thing that what might turn a lot of people off to it. Is it's very hard to do, like, I'm going to play for 30 minutes and then like leave because there's no save system in the game, which in my opinion, and it could be wrong, is a artistic expression of the game's purpose.
Yeah,
and
I feel that when you explained it that way, I was like, yeah, I could see it that way.
It's extremely brave because as developers, doing a save state is not difficult.
Yeah.
It is not like a difficult thing that next gen games like we don't know how to do that, or like we don't know how to write this data to memory. Like it's not.
I could see it being difficult if they never ever accounted for like saving the layout of a map, like because it's procedurally generated. But here's the thing, like knowing how programming works, it wouldn't be that difficult to convert a map layout. However, they're doing that as data into a serializable data that can be saved. So yeah, it must be. It was
intentional.
It was intentional. It wasn't a difficulty thing.
Yeah. And this is not a roguelike where you're like, okay, I'm gonna die. It's no Spelunky 2 where you drop in literally into the first area and you get ping-ponged around and die in 19 seconds.
I just played some Spelunky 2 today, actually. I did a round and got fucked.
This is you may sit down and play for an hour or two for one run. So I will say that is the biggest downside to a lot of current gen gamers. Like some people just don't have the time to dedicate to that, and that's the biggest downside. But if you do, I would say Returnal is a mandatory staple along the lines of God of War, Spider-Man.
It's
games other people like to play on PS5.
It looks great. It plays great. It uses the PS5 controller great. I mentioned some of these things the first time I talked about it. Me and Tyler had a lot of fun with the lore. The story's very good. The Act 2 twist is one of my favorite moments in gaming this year. Like the game takes a whole different mindset after you finish Act 1, and it was super cool. Don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it's great. The one complaint I have about this game is once you beat the game, you can go for the true ending, and you can go for the platinum trophy, and that's fine and all. But the thing is, the game doesn't have many reasons for you to go refight the bosses. They're not mandatory to go to another zone. And while I very much like that, I wish they had a mode like a super hard difficulty where you have to clear the bosses or something. Just something where like I can play the game at an even harder level with even harder bosses, which is crazy because I've read so many posts on Reddit where it's like, I'm 130 deaths in and I just beat the first boss. Meanwhile, I beat the game in 13 deaths, and Tyler with his massive schlong beat it in 3.
If you like, I had a coworker who she turned off aim assist, and I'm like, yo, I could not beat the game without aim assist. Like, I curve my thumb around that controller so much, it's just bread and butter. So I can understand some people might turn off aim assist. I think if you're playing in that sense, you might be having a really difficult time with it. Like, I can get that because
I don't
think
the
further than I could ever get.
The thing with this game is, and for anyone struggling, and if you're playing this and you're like, man, I want to like this game, but it's so difficult. Go into a boss room and just dodge for like 5 minutes, and you're gonna see that it's actually like really manageable to be defensive. And once you get a hang of dodging the attacks, then you start introducing in your own attacks with shooting and stuff. But
I have also played like over 200 hours of Risk of Rain 2 on like the hardest difficulty, which is another third-person roguelike game. So I have probably a slightly skewed level of experience.
Yeah.
My other big complaint about the game is that there is a true ending, and it's like they do this artistic choice to not add saving, and it's like I'm like, okay, that's cool. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, just. And this is spoiler, so like skip the next 2 minutes. You go on this like scavenger hunt for the true ending.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just Metroid Prime that shit and make me do it all to unlock the actual ending for the game. Like the first ending versus the true ending, it's so meaningless that they're separated. It's just like why? Like in my point, it doesn't make any sense. Like if the designer comes along and they would explain it to me, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, I get what you did, but I still disagree with it.
Are you saying you wish that the the ending that we got was only like the true ending is the only ending. Is that what you'd prefer?
Yes, like there is more for the game other than just getting a platinum trophy.
Yeah.
The game is not over yet. Just take me into that content and I will complete the game.
To be
because
fair,
now I do not want to complete the game anymore. I don't want to go back and redo that because I got whatever was given to me.
It's a roguelike, though. If you died, you would have had to go back anyways. I think the thing is, neither of us have gotten the true ending yet, so we can't speak on it fully, to be fair.
I was talking to my coworker about it, and apparently I missed lines of dialogue because I beat the game too fast, and I only fought most bosses once. Apparently they have different lines of dialogue if you fight bosses multiple times.
Bosses don't talk.
Celine talks.
Well,
the one-liner Celine throws out.
I guess so. I didn't really notice. I died a fair, especially like the World 2 fucked me up, and the drones in World 3 and 5 also.
Those are the hardest enemies in the entire game.
That and the giant enemy mid-bosses found in Area 6. Those guys are insane. But you had a god build.
There is a common enemy. Oh yeah, I did have a god build. I did extremely find out what was really busted really fast. But I also had a lot of fun doing that because you have to get your efficiency up.
Yeah.
And you level up weapons too, which I think is really fun. And your multiple playthroughs. So like if you like pistols and want to keep making pistols stronger, you're rewarded for using that weapon in multiple runs.
Ironically, pistol I think is the worst weapon because several of its updates make it unusable to me. I hate the burst fire and I hate the charge shot.
Pro tip, if you are using the pistol, do not hold down the trigger to fire. Instead, just tap that shit like you're playing Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's Returnal.
That's Returnal. Pick it up when you can find a PS5 in the wild. Even you, Joe. Oh, no.
I cry every day.
I cry every time.
I want to talk about Final Fantasy III with Willer.
So, I recently beat Final Fantasy 3 and Final Fantasy 8.
Dude, nice.
I will let you choose your adventure on which one you want to hear about first. Interactivity.
But let's do 3 since let's do chronological order.
I think we've all played 3 at this point now because I played 3 when I was in middle school. Not recently, but I played it before.
I beat 8 before I beat 3, but it was like in a couple day span. I was kind of like.
Yeah.
Then let's
I was kind of doing them
first.
Together. No, we'll do 3 first. So
okay.
You said it first. There's no takesy backsies.
Okay.
So,
okay.
3. I feel like 3 invalidates playing 1 and 2 ever.
Yeah.
Because I've tried so many times to play Final Fantasy 2. I've tried so I just cannot fucking hang with that game. It is unfun.
What's wrong with it?
It's just not fun. I can't explain it. There's just nothing there for me.
You gotta use the back row, man. You gotta put them back.
I use the back row. That's not the problem, right, Joe? But 3's got that classic, like, no plot, no character development. All these characters are ass. Everything sucks. Bullshit
you gotta kill
grinding.
grandma and grandpa that helped you.
You gotta kill the grandma and grandpa that's helped you.
That's the one clear thing I remember about that game.
That is the one plot point of the game, is that they show up and they help you and then they die and then they show up at the final boss as spirits.
They were like, you need to kill us. I'm like, what?
Excuse me? But this game has a much advanced job system from the first game. And I quite liked it. It was very simple. Like the classes are so simplistic where like your party is it's not 4 individuals with unique skill sets. Your party is one unit that does one thing. Because most jobs have the one thing they can do. That is like the thing that makes them unique. And you're constructing your party, so it's like you're gonna do that one thing 95% of each turn. You're going to do that one thing, and my whole party's built so I can keep doing that one thing and surviving through the boss. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if y'all felt that way. Maybe y'all but I feel like most.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt like it felt very brute force because I would find what worked and just kept doing it. So I guess you're right. but like it felt a lot more forced to me, where it's just like I just need to find the thing that kills this boss as quickly as possible.
Is that not how you play every turn-based RPG?
Well, good turn-based RPGs require you to have some sort of contingency plans for other things. But hey,
I don't play RPGs like that.
I've never ever had to play a contingency plan. It was like, this one thing works, that's what work you win.
And you like this genre? Playing like I don't. That's not how it is for me.
I do. Probably, it's like
I don't.
It's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle. You have to put you get the pieces and you start slowly putting them all together.
You're right.
As you said, there's no character development. It's all story. Everybody's ass.
But once you solve the puzzle,
your favorite game is Bravely Default. You don't think there's character development?
There is.
You're just saying triggering things because that's who you are, a triggerer. Okay.
How revels in chaos.
So let me talk briefly about my final endgame party of this game.
Was it all Dragoons? Because that was fine.
The main character. This is in order of the character. So you have Luneth, you have Ark, you have Rafia the girl, and you have Ignis like the quiet boy. Ark is like the shy boy, and Luneth is.
Wait, there's only one girl? I thought there were two girls.
There's only one girl. Ark is a boy. So my Luneth was a Geomancer, an unpopular bad class that I took to and beat the world of chaos with. My Ark was a sage.
A Geomancer.
Hold on, let me go through the fucking lineup, and then you can ask your questions. Okay, my Ark was a sage who can use every single spell but has less mana than others. My Rafia was a ninja, and then my Luneth was a bard. So bard and Geomancer seem to be pretty unpopular picks, so I'm pretty happy I was able to bring them into the late game. And the funny thing is, the Geomancer is a class where they can press a button and do a random spell that is based on the location you're in. So each location has like 3 to 4 random spells you can do, and it has no resource. You just do them, and there's always a chance for him to cast Shadow Flare, which will always do above 9999 damage. But it's like a small chance. Mm-hmm. Ever since I set that character to Geomancer, and I shit you not, for the entire rest of the game, he clicked one button. There was never a turn where he was not doing Geomancy, because like my whole party was just built on like, you're going to be the consistent damage, you don't run out of resources, you just press the Geomancy skill. And I thought that was pretty fun. The Bard can do a party-wide buff, and it comes with priority, so he will always act first. So he can either give everyone defense, magic defense, haste. Those only last 2 turns. He can do damage to every opponent, or what he was usually doing for me is heal everyone roughly 10%, but as his job level goes up, that 10% goes up to like 20.
That's pretty good.
So every turn, I was just spamming that. Occasionally, I would throw down one of the defensive ones. Mm-hmm. The Ninja was a late game addition. She used to be like everyone changed classes throughout my journey, but this was like my final party. The Ninja can throw items, so you can throw weapons. And near the end of the game, I was just like chucking everything. I bought like a shit ton of shurikens, which are the strongest weapons.
Don't they deal like 30? Don't they deal not like max damage every time you throw one?
They all like some of them will do above max damage each throw. So yeah, it's dependent on your job levels. And then the Sage will either do a summon or a high level black magic or some healing. That was like the variable person. So that was my party setup. The final dungeon in this game is insanely. Do you remember the Crystal Tower?
So this thing, okay, I'll let you say it. This thing is a gauntlet.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting.
So there's 2 parts to the Crystal Tower. First of all, you have to park your giant ass airship, and you ain't going back to that. Because you have to. Oh my god, I forgot about that. You have to park your airship, which has the shop and the healing, outside of a dungeon called the Ancient Maze. Go through the Ancient Maze, and then you're back in the overworld where you get to save, and then you get to finally start the Crystal Tower, which is 2 dungeons because 3 dungeons because the Crystal Tower has the Crystal Tower and Eureka the Forbidden City. You want to go into Eureka the Forbidden City because it has all the best late game weapons. and also a pond at the end where you can like heal. You can buy shurikens there. You can buy like high level magic. So that's your grinding spot. You can't save though. If you die, you're fucked.
Yeah, you cannot save, and in order to obtain the highest level, like it has a like super weapon for every weapon type in the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
But the caveat is you have to fight an in-game level boss in order to obtain that weapon.
Each weapon has an end-game level boss.
That's cool.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's. I'm not saying it wasn't hell. I'm just saying that's kind of cool that you had to do that.
It is kind of badass, but it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's. I think the final area, like including the maze, Eureka, and the final boss, I think it takes like 3 hours, and you can't save.
I don't remember much about the final area. I just remember getting to the end and be like, all right, I'm never playing this fucking game again.
Did you not beat it?
No, I did. I got to the credits and everything.
Yeah, me neither. I deleted it off my iPad.
I was like, all right, I'm done. Great game. 100% you should play it, but don't play it twice.
Maybe you should play if you're trying to understand Final Fantasy like I've been like ever since I finished 7. I've kind of unlocked the interest to really get it. I will never do 1 and 2. I've just given up, but I will do everything else eventually. Yeah, but look, okay, so you beat the Crystal Tower, right? You get to a boss named Zondi. You beat him. You then go into the World of Darkness, which has you fight 8 more bosses before you fight the Cloud of Darkness, and you don't save or heal in between those. It is nutty.
Don't dudes run into them? Am I remember that correctly?
No, those are the Warriors of Dark, which are actually kind of a neat concept to the plot, where like they also don't want the World of Darkness, so it's like, we gotta balance light and dark. We're gonna run into her and weaken her.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is I lost to the Cloud of Darkness once, and I had to redo it all twice. Because I was in the iPad, if I close the iPad, it actually saves an autosave right before where you were. So I did have a cheat in case I died, and I forgot about it all in my last few play sessions. So I just kind of did it normal, which is not a good idea.
I played mine on the DS, so I would just put the sleep mode and put it away. But
like this was a cheat where like I can redo a fight. I can gold experience that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's neat.
Anyways, fun game. Only recommended for historical purposes. I do like to see how other stuff came from here.
I wish there was...
Go on.
I was going to say, I wish there was more job-based RPG games that weren't Bravely Default 2. There's Bravely Default 1, but I'm not going to buy a thing for my DS cartridge.
Yeah.
It's just... if Bravely Default 1 comes onto the Switch, I'll probably play it in a heartbeat.
Bravely Default 1's a trip. One day I will talk more about it. I beat Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII is an insane game made by insane people. Very quickly, I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. It is very important for listeners to understand how weird the core system of this game is. In Final Fantasy VIII, there's 2 core mechanics that you use throughout the game. One is you draw magic casts from enemies and you store them. Good, great. You can also cast the magic that you can draw instantly, so you don't like basically in any enemy you can you can draw thunder, confuse, and protect from them, which means you can infinitely do those moves against them while you're fighting them. But you can also stock them to use for later. Second, there's a bunch of summons that you can fuse with. You're not fusing with them, you're junctioning with them. And this is a confusing system where the junction system gives you a bunch of it's how you use the defend command, the steal command. It's how you get resistances, how you get but you junction spells to stats to raise them. And you can become very busted by doing this where I'm just going to go and grind out 99 Blizzagas so I can junction it to my Squall's attack to make it very strong, and etc., etc. Honestly, super fun system when you get down to it. Kind of grindy, but it is so flexible, and you feel very powerful when you get good setups, but it does make it so I could see a player never using magic because of that. I'm the kind of person who, when you have an elixir, you have to use it, because otherwise you're never going to use it. I use my consumables in RPGs because I know you fall into the trap where you don't use them otherwise. So I had no problem using magic. The thing is, it takes a while for magic to become good. So most of the game, in the early game, you're just doing the summon attacks over and over, which is a whole fun system. But yeah, it's an addicting system. I really like the combat in this game. I prefer it to 7. Like 7 has
Really?
7 is very simplistic in combat. I never felt like well, sometimes I felt challenged, but mostly it was kind of simple. In this game, like I had to like really rethink my entire layout for some bosses, or like grinding only gets you so far because the enemies scale with your level. So really, it's all about how well you're junctioning for a fight, which I think is really great.
Well, I forgot to ask. In Final Fantasy III, did you beat the super boss?
No, and I will not.
So the final boss in the game is like level 50.
And is incredibly difficult. World of Darkness.
It is.
I had to grind from like 48 to 60 between the entire thing.
The actual like secret boss is called the Iron Giant. And it recommends your entire party be level 999 maxed out on everything.
I imagine that game's fucked up.
It is. There is a lot of fucked up things about Final Fantasy 3. You're talking about 8 being written by crazy people. In Final Fantasy 3, there are certain bosses that you have to like switch up your entire class just to fight that boss.
There's a boss where you have to be all dragoons, and a boss that you fight where you're in minied, so you can only use spellcasters. And it's like, well, fuck, okay.
Yeah, and you are punished for changing your job classes.
Yeah. But so on the other front of 8, I also quite like the story. And I'm sure y'all won't mind some spoilers here, but there's a point in 8 where everyone realizes, all your main party members realizes they all went to the same orphanage and they forgot. And you're like, this is the weirdest, most contrived plot point I've ever seen. But then they're like, well, when you junction with the GF, which is the summons, you start succumbing some like memory loss. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like you tie that mechanic. That mechanic is well tied into the plot, which I like. Like the combat mechanics are tied into the plot of 8. But like aside from that, pretty fun story. Like pretty solid characters. The character of Squall in particular, he comes off as just this edgy, brooding boy, but like he's got insecurities and like problems that I hate that I could relate with. Like the moodiest parts of myself, like I see where you're coming from, Squall. You have some depth to you. You're not so bad. So I am a fan of Squall. A problem with the story. So like in 7, all the main characters get some time to shine. In this one, way less. It's more so about Squall and Renoa, who's his love interest. And it's mostly a story about them featuring 3 to 4 other people. And that felt kind of weird. But the set pieces in this game are so like breathtaking even to this day. Like I think there's this sequence where you're in space and you go into like first person as you're drifting into space, trying to like collide with another person who's also drifting into space. I'm like, this is a PS1 game. What is happening? Like the set pieces are gorgeous, even with the shit graphics. They're like so well cinematographized. So I ended up really liking the story. Characters were fine. Shout out to Squall. Ultimacia, the final boss, is maybe the hardest RPG final boss I fought. She was nuts. She has 5 phases, and they're all nutty. They completely turn game mechanics on their head, where after a certain point, if you try to summon, which has been one of your primary offensive tools throughout the game, she will snipe your summon and kill it instantly before you can cast it. And it's like, oh shit, okay, now I have to get real creative. But then she will also start like striking down entire stacks of magic. So like this turn, all of Squall's Blizzagas are gone. And you're like, wait, what? And like you're speeding through that fight, not being able to do summons. It was super fun, but incredibly hard. And that's 8. I definitely recommend it. So if I have to rank the Final Fantasies I've completed now,
yeah,
I've only completed 3, and I've played a lot of 15. So I could throw it in there maybe, but 3 is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
And then, like, gameplay wise, 8 is much better than 7 IMO. But I love 7's story, so I would go 3, 8, 7. And that's ascending, so actually, like, 7, 8, 3. Yep. And I also started Final Fantasy IV. And I just want to very briefly touch on my initial time with 4. Tyler, you've played 4, yes?
Yeah.
Did you beat 4?
Yeah.
So far, I am incredibly impressed with 4. It feels like night and day, and I don't know if this is like the DS remake just being this good. 4 is incredible right now. I'm having a blast.
I've never played 7, and I kind of don't think I would like the story more than I like 4 because I played 4 first.
The story of 7 is really good. 4, so that is the most jarring thing. Immediately, 4 has a really compelling story with well fleshed out characters. So, like, they probably weren't this good in the NES version, I imagine, but in the DS version, these characters are like banging right now. I'm going through like I'm just completely surprised at how much I'm enjoying the story.
And 4 is a blast.
The gameplay is so solid right now. Each individual character is their own person, but also have a class. And those classes have a lot more going on than the 3 classes where, like, each class has multiple mechanics to it. But also, it makes it so, like, you can craft a character's personality around their archetypal class. And it just feels great. Like, I'm in love right now with it. And I'm going to do that one and probably 9 back-to-back. And then I can do, like, maybe 5 and 10 together, and then probably 6 and 12 together. So I'm kind of like layering past and future. And then with 12, I do want to, or with 10, I also want to play 10-2, which you were mentioning there's not a lot of RPG with classes. I know 10-2 has classes and it's done well, and it is supposed to be a weird, like, K-pop fever dream that I'm looking forward to.
Interesting.
I've watched a full playthrough of 10. I don't remember a lot of it. I have no doubts 10 will be my favorite when I play it, but that's a future story.
Before we get out of turn-based RPG realm...
Yeah, sorry, that went a little bit, but these games are nuts.
I want to talk about Dragon Quest, your story.
Oh, right. Yeah, you watched that. I forgot to write that down.
So that is the Netflix original Dragon Quest movie. I loved this movie.
Really? Is it animated? It is, right?
Yeah, it is well animated.
Is it CG or 2D?
It's 3D.
But it's like good 3D?
It's a good 3D. I enjoyed this movie a lot. What made it really fun for me was I remember playing like Final Fantasy 3 and 4 and like just a lot of turn-based RPGs in general. Like, if you were ever to read the dialogue in those games out loud, it would sound really cringy.
Yes.
And, like, choppy and kind of not make sense. And that's how the entire movie is written and how the characters talk to each other. And I thought that was, like, a lot of fun.
It's done charming. Like, it's, like, not... Okay, cool.
It's very charming in the way that it's done. I don't want to say anything about it because, I mean, if you've played some Dragon Quest, you might know. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun watch. It's something you can throw on in the background, maybe, or just like if you're like, oh, I'm bored, watch this. I think it's good. I would recommend it.
If you're interested in this movie, skip like 15 seconds because I have to ask a spoilery question. Skip now. Okay, Tyler, this is not the Isekai movie, right?
I don't know what you mean by Isekai movie.
There's a Dragon Quest movie that is like a surprise Isekai in the end, and everyone hated it, and I thought it was this.
Do y'all want spoiler or not?
Is it the Isekai movie or not, Tyler?
I don't want to say anything.
Oh my god, you would like it, you fucking filth.
I mean, like, anything can be an isekai if you think about it.
Yeah, but that's because you think about it weird.
So, okay, well, fine. I know y'all won't,
that answers my question.
Watch it, so I'll let you know.
No, I will watch it. I will watch it. But we can end it there.
Knowing that, like, going into it changes everything, because I did not know that, and the ending to this movie was a huge mindfuck to me.
So you liked it.
I did, because me and Kelly were watching it, and like shit starts to get fourth wall breaking, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought it was great.
See, you probably liked it because it caught you so off guard. Me knowing what's going to happen, I might not like it. But let me turn it on and see if it's charming, and then we'll see.
I think you will enjoy it for the same reason I did.
Okay, for the charminess.
I think you will enjoy the ending for the same reason I did, and because we have a much different experience than a large majority of people based off of our career choices.
We'll leave it there. Joe, talk to me. I'm bringing you back to life with Mass Effect talk.
So when we got back from Disney, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, and I kind of just bought it instantly. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it. I might as well just buy it now and just start like going through the game. I beat Mass Effect 1 in a weekend very quickly. Beat Mass Effect 2 over the course of a week and a half. That felt like a very fine wine, that game. And then currently on Mass Effect 3, which feels like a pizza you throw in the microwave.
Which has its time and place, mind you.
It does. Okay, so to give some history about this game, everyone knows Mass Effect. It's one of the biggest, I think, game franchises that came out during the 360 era.
Yeah.
What's really cool about this edition is that it goes through the entire cycle of the 360, so you can see like what the game like thought processes were for games throughout the entire life cycle of that game, because it started with 1 at the beginning as a launch title, and then 2 came out midway through, and then 3 came out at the very end of its like lifespan. But the thing about Mass Effect is that it was BioWare's next big hit after Knights of the Old Republic, which I think is really funny because Mass Effect 1 is basically a beat-for-beat remake of Knights of the Old Republic.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, and when I say beat-for-beat, the story is a bit different, but the arcs that they use within that game structurally are one the same. The first act of the game is you run through like a tunnel dungeon that just teaches you how to do the combat. The second part of the game is is a more like social environmental thing where you have to talk to people to figure out where you need to go, and like very RPG-esque of like discussing and doing like dialogue choices and using other skills to get what you need. And then it opens up to a big like go here in whatever order you want. And then you have the final mission that like railroads you to the end of the game. I just think that's really funny. What makes it even funnier is that Caden Alenko is literally Cars Onasi from Knights of the Old Republic, and I say this because he looks exactly the fucking same, and they use the exact same voice actor for the dude, for Caden Alenko.
I don't know. This is a Tyler thing, maybe. I know
Caden
nothing about.
Caden Alenko's one of your first like guys you get in the game, your companions. And he has the exact same attitude, voice lines, and voice actor as another character that's in their previous game, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
It's a Star Wars game. Which I think it was just really funny because they basically ripped that game and just made it again their own universe.
I haven't played Mass Effect in how old am I? 12 years?
Yeah.
11 or 12 years?
Mass Effect is pretty rough. Like, even when I played it originally, I was like, this game is not fantastic. It has like those really PS1 type of like graphics and like settings and mechanics, so it feels very, very old.
I played Mass Effect 1 and 2. Yeah. So this was during the summer that I was 14, so I couldn't drive yet. And I still got to just sit around and being a degenerate and play Call of Duty and stuff all day.
What times those are?
Yeah. I know. I got Mass Effect 1 and 2 in like one of those bundle Xbox 360 games. I remember this distinctly. I don't remember leaving like my house for like 19 days because I was just playing Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I think I 100%ed like both games, like one file all the way through. I still love these games today.
Yeah. I think the great thing about Mass Effect 1 is that it's actually really short. Like there's only like 4 missions in the entire game, and so like I put that game on easy and I ran through that game really quickly. There's a whole bunch of other side content you can do, but I ran through it. Reason being is because your save file moves through each game, so really like your choices are the thing that carries over, and that's what matters. So Mass Effect 1, I give it a solid 6. The combat's still not great. It's got better graphics. The Mako is actually usable now.
Yeah.
So Willer,
real quick, hold on, Tyler. You are playing this version. You bought this version, right? Have you played it?
No, I have not had time to play this.
Okay.
The Legendary Edition.
Go on, Joe. What is a Mako?
So the Mako is in Mass Effect 1, your mission comprised of 3 segments. The RPG segment where you talk to somebody. The last segment was when you went and you fought the boss and you fought the dungeon at the end. The middle section was you got into this car called a Mako and you had to drive to the dungeon, essentially. This thing's physics was if you hit a pebble, you would go flying off the map and die.
And it had Halo 2 tank physics.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was like I beat the entire Mass Effect trilogy originally, and I got to the end. I was like, I want to do a Renegade run. So I went back, and when I played this series, I would rent the games from Blockbuster. That's how old I fucking am. Yeah. I regularly went to Blockbuster and did this.
Nuts.
So I went back and rented Mass Effect 1 again, and I got to the Mako sections. I'm like, all right, fuck this game.
Our ass.
Because there was a section of the game that I literally spent 3 hours on doing. And it was this Mako section. But they made it now where it's a lot easier. You're a lot more durable. You can basically just like run through the Mako sections and not worry about them anymore, which is a big plus because there's no RPG element to them. It's literally just a mini game that you're playing. So I'm glad that they did that. I don't like that they kept their combat system from Mass Effect 1 because I don't think it's really that fun. All your powers are on very long cooldowns. Your guns your gun has like a cooldown mechanic where you can overheat the gun, but they cool down very, very long. So you'll just be sitting there for like 30 seconds not doing anything in like an action RPG game, which kind of sucks.
So 2 must be a real banger for this to be a beloved franchise then, huh?
You go to 2, Mass Effect 1 looks like a game some kid made in college. Like just like part of a group project where he ended up doing all the work.
Sure.
Mass Effect 2, like that game is like on a whole different galaxy. It's so much better in every aspect.
If you want to compare apples and oranges, if you had to like go look on a pedestal and be like, what game is better, Returnal or Mass Effect 2? It would be like, here's Returnal, here's Mass Effect 2, all the way up there, looking down at it and be like, hello down there, how are you?
Wow, now that is a picture you're painting right there. I don't know if I can believe that.
Right off the bat, graphics are immediately improved. They got their lighting system down, so like it actually feels like a space game, where like you get these great like different rays of light coming in. The dialogue in Mass Effect 2 is tremendously better. Like Mass Effect 1 had very robotic dialogue, and just felt like I just want to get to the end here and just get to what you're saying. Mass Effect 2 like has some incredible plot points. Like Mordin Solus is the best character I've ever written in a video game. He's an alien who genetically engineered a disease to inhibit the reproduction of an entire alien species, and everyone's okay with it. Like even the people that got their reproduction system shut off are okay with it. Like they were like, yeah, it's probably the right choice thing for you.
Zeke Yeager looking ass over here.
Yeah, like it's his story arc in those games is incredible. It's one of my favorite.
Best character ever. You clearly haven't heard of Cloud Strife, Joseph.
One of the best video game characters I didn't really like. I didn't not really like, but I really didn't understand Mordin when I was a kid. And then I played it again. It's like, wow, this guy actually has a lot of depth, and there's a lot of more dilemma in this character. And I think that's the Mass Effect 2's biggest strong point, is that the moral dilemmas in this game, if it wasn't for the Paragon and Renegade system, are actually intriguing and actually make you think about what you would do. Like, it's pretty hard sometimes. Like, God, there's a lot.
So if you've ever seen the meme about choices like in video game RPGs, Mass Effect 2 is where they come from.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have this Paragon choice where you're like, yes, I'm sure we all feel bad for your loss. And then like the renegade dialogue would be like, insult him. And then you hit insult him, and then Shepard will do like a roundhouse kick punch beat down and say "fuck your mom" to their face. It's like, why did you do that?
So
I showed Willard.
This just showed me some dumb bullshit.
I punch the reporter every time because I'm doing a full renegade run this time around.
So hold on. This opens up like a dialogue that's actually kind of interesting and goes beyond Mass Effect, which is like when you have a morality slider in a game and have it be visible, you kill decision making in that game.
Mm-hmm. That's my biggest complaint about the entire Mass Effect series. And at the time, once again, they were ripping this from Knights of the Old Republic because Knights of the Old Republic had light side and dark side, and you would get power in space if you were light side or dark side.
And that's the thing, right? In these systems, you're either sometimes they will have like a neutral bonus, but usually they only have like a full dark, full good bonus. So at that point, like you can't toe any line or you're punished for it. Which is why, like in Catherine, for example, when you answer a question in Catherine, an invisible morality meter goes up and down, and you barely understand what the hell's going on. Like you need to obfuscate it.
Yeah. And I agree. Like that's my biggest like negative thing to Mass Effect, and I think that's more of a now situation. Or at the time, it was like everyone was kind of okay with it because dialogue in video games didn't really branch out as much then. So I think that's a big like negative to it because there's a moment where you have to make a decision about an entire race of species in 2, and it's something that like only because the way the species is developed, there's no other situation where it could apply, and it's about like basically like self-realization and control, and it's so interesting to think about like the power of God that you have in your hands over this species. But like you're like, all right, which one's the red option? I pick that one. That's what it kind of boils down to, unfortunately. But if you just go through and like just want to ignore that aspect and go through the dialogue options as you would, it's incredibly interesting to think about and go to. But all the characters in that game are actually like really interesting and like worth talking to, except for the 2 DLC characters, which is Assassin Thief Lady and rugged scarred mercenary dude, who are the lamest people in that game. But the combat in the game is a lot better too. Like you have a whole combo system now with like pulling people, and like if you use one biotic attack and then use another attack on them, they explode or do some additional effect to them and the people around them. So you want to mix and match your party based on like the different armor systems that the enemies have. For example, the Geth have a lot of shields, so you want a party that can deal a lot of shield damage, while the Collectors have a lot of armor for them, so you want a lot of armor-based skills and abilities. And sometimes you don't know what you're exactly getting into when you land on the planet. So overall, that game is just a monumental improvement. I love it. Like I went through that whole game, was just like I immediately want to play this game again because it was just so much fun. I want to put it on the hard difficulty, and I want to it was great. And it was tremendous. The DLCs in both of these first 2 games are just terrible. I'm very happy that they were bundled in. I did have to pay for them.
Nice.
I'm on Mass Effect 3 right now. I am almost halfway done with the game, but that game's kind of fresh in my mind because it was the latest one I played. Mm-hmm. When I played it originally, I really was like, all right, whatever. I kind of really enjoyed it, but like playing it directly after 2, like it's really disappointing. It's kind of sad. Like they cut down a lot of the dialogue choices and options that you have. In Mass Effect 2, you can go back to your squad mates and talk to them a lot to get their opinions on what just happened on your mission.
I think that's so important for these kinds of games.
Yeah, they kind of cut that out here. You don't have any more dialogue trees to go through. You just go up to them like, man, that kind of sucks that you had to do this, this, and this. I'm glad I wasn't on that mission, or I'm glad you made that decision and not me. Like, it's very much the same every single time. And I'm like, that's really disappointing because I really want to know what Garrus's opinion about this is. Mm-hmm. But so that's immediately like upsetting to me. The combat though is the best it's ever been. Like the combat's really solid in this game. So much so that I realized that Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was probably the multiplayer system I've always wanted, and it just has never come back, and it makes me upset. The way that game, I can't. It's not in the Legendary Edition.
Bummer.
That's why I'm upset. The way that multiplayer system worked was you made yourself like a secret agent. They're called Spectres in the game. And you get dropped into a zone, and then you have to basically, as a team, complete like 5 objectives in the zone. But subclasses could do certain objectives faster. So like you really want to diversify who was on your team because you wanted to make sure you could do each objective as fast as possible. And then you had like waves of enemies that came at you, and you had to reposition yourself, and you had to like combo your abilities off of somebody else. It was really fun. Like actually really, really fun.
Cool.
But Mass Effect 3 story, it's not as good because you're in this weird wartime situation. You don't feel as fun flying through the galaxy looking for rocks.
And that ending, beloved ending.
So I only ever saw the original ending.
Tyler likes that ending.
I think it's great.
I think the ending isn't bad either, Tyler.
I like Mass Effect 3's ending because it is an end.
Yeah,
the game is over. It's done.
It's done. And what's okay? So here's the really stupid thing about people's complaints is that people are like, it boiled down to 3 choices. Motherfucker, that's the whole game for the whole series. You picked 1 out of 3 choices.
People just weren't happy with the gravity of those choices.
Yeah, like I'm just like, what? Like it would make people would be so much more upset if there was just an ending at the end and they didn't get any control over it.
I will say, a lot of people are bad at games, according to my knowledge, or that it's been made known to me.
Mm-hmm.
So some people only had 1 choice at the end.
Yeah, that's true. That is a thing. Depending on your morality and like Paragon and Renegade aren't mutually exclusive. You can build up both.
If you're a mad lad who didn't play the game and you're just like don't care about the game, and you get to the very end and you're like, oh, I only have 1 choice. Why do I only have 1 choice? And it's like, oh, did you play the game? And they're like, oh, I just played the main story. And it's like, oh, you didn't play the other 30 side missions? And it's like, how many characters do you have with you? And it's like, oh, I only have 2 party members with me. Oh, out of 13 great side characters and stories you could have experienced? Yeah, you get what you deserve.
Yeah. I had one of the characters say no to me when I requested to get on the ship. I was like, oh, I forgot I could do that. I fucked up. Whoops. Which is fine. I don't care because I've played the game before. I played the game fully Paragon. The ending of 2 is also like revolutionary because 2's ending really defines who you see in Mass Effect 3. It's really, really cool.
That is cool because like your character does progress through all 3 stories as well as some NPCs, including ones you choose to have killed.
Yeah.
You could have 1 character killed and like to replay an entire Mass Effect game, you could go back all the way to 1 and play through all 3 and have a different experience.
Yeah. And depending on like a character that lived or died in 1 could impact your relationship with other characters in 3 and impact your decision making.
I want Mass Effect Ultimate Legendary Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Edition where they actually combine them all into 1 game.
That is this game.
No. I want no like menu where you choose the different game. I want it all the way through. Same graphics, no interruptions.
I want to all have the same combat system so 1 isn't complete ass.
And then you can all play Andromeda together and have a great old time. Okay.
That game.
What am I talking about that?
That's enough Mass Effect.
That's a game.
Yeah, but they announced a new Mass Effect game that is coming out that is not Andromeda. But we'll see what happens.
Cool. Yeah. I hope the character runs weird again.
Willer, talk to me about Jujutsu Kaisen.
So, real quick, we were going to have this whole cartoon block where Joe was going to talk about Owl House, and I just finished Steven Universe Future today. Sidebar, that show is fucked up. That is not a children's show by the end of it. That is a fucked up show that I loved and almost made me cry, and I will save it to talk about it next week because I can talk about it with Joe and Bradley. So if we can get the whole gang together, I will save it for then. I'm going to talk about it next podcast regardless who shows up. But yeah, Owl House is similar. I'm looking forward to hearing about that. But Jujutsu Kaisen is an anime that came out last year. Is that correct? 2020 anime. I immediately got hooked into this, and by the end of it, this is the best anime I have watched since Hunter x Hunter 2011.
Wow.
I like it better than Hunter x Hunter. It's potentially top 3 anime of all time for me.
Wow. But you have to let the story finish.
I guess, right? Yes, but like just from season 1, I have never connected to a story like the most high I was on a story since Jujutsu Kaisen is like Haikyuu, and Haikyuu is a top 5 of all time for me.
There's a new Haikyuu season this year. I might die,
dude. Haikyuu's ending is so good. Jujutsu Kaisen is so good because it has this level of maturity of someone who has studied the shonen genre very carefully and has created a phenomenal story around that is not a deconstruction, but just a perfection of everything that makes these shows great, but with some twists that you will not expect. There's a twist death in the first arc of this show that was so good and perfect and brave and ballsy. And as One Piece is my bloodline, I crave people that take like actual risks like this. That being said, last chapter One Piece, potentially massive deaths, but we'll talk about that next
I don't want to talk about that.
Tyler's sad. Yeah, man, Jujutsu's characters are so good. The action's phenomenal. The storytelling's fantastic. The villains are great. And you know what's crazy? I think Demon Slayer is the more popular of the two. Well, both blew up in 2020, but Demon Slayer blew up massively. I think I got the sense that children really like Demon Slayer because I saw a poll posted on r/anime where it's like Japanese children rate Tanjiro as more trustworthy than their own parents. and the list is like Tanjiro, mom and dad, and then a bunch of other Demon Slayer characters. Like children love Demon Slayer, man. And Tanjiro's great, so good on him. But like
what good lad.
One complaint I have about Demon Slayer is how nonsense and like how much I don't care about the villains ever. Except the main villain, he's kind of neat at times. But like with Jujutsu Kaisen, the primary curses that the characters fight have so much personality. Their powers are a reflection of their characters in interesting ways. I'm super intrigued. Like I don't even fully understand what their goals are yet, and I'm not even bothered by it because they're just so captivating. To be fair, some of the early episodes I watched like in very social settings or very tired settings where I didn't catch everything. So that might be a thing. I might have missed some like plot laying there, but like the main characters are so fire. The primary trio have a fantastic ending to this arc. I think my favorite character, to Tyler's surprise, I know who Tyler's favorite character is. What's his name again?
Guy? Gojo?
No, not Gojo. Your favorite character is it Gojo?
I like Gojo.
Is Gojo the guy?
Why wouldn't you like Gojo?
First of all, Gojo's fantastic, and he's a meme lord who lives up to the hype.
He's One Punch Man.
Man, the episode in which he unveils his power fully, it's pretty early in the series, but it's like, okay, the good guys have the strongest living human being, like the strongest living power user in the series. Every arc is how we're going to ride around delaying that character getting to the action in a way that is not annoying like One Punch Man, in a way that I love.
I mean, the antagonists know One Punch Man exists, and their entire plot is to stop One Punch Man. And
revive Sukuna so that the Age of Curses can go on and all that.
Yeah.
And but that music makes you lose control. Tyler has shared potentially the 2 greatest meme videos I've ever seen. Every time I watch them, I lose my mind. I've made one of them my Steam icon after Tyler's wish. So thank you for that one, Tyler. But yeah, like I figured your favorite character would be the muscle guy whose best
Oh,
bros.
yeah.
I forget
he
his
is
name.
great.
Oh man, but Toto, I think.
Yeah.
The scene where he creates a backstory between him and Itadori just in the middle of their encounter is some of the hardest I've ever laughed.
Toto is my favorite character.
Toto, yes. I like Toto a lot. My favorite character is Nanami. He is the spectacle-wearing, like, businessman.
I knew that would be your favorite character.
Did you? Is that what you guessed? That character, I related to him in a very upsetting way, and I was like, I feel you and I love you, man.
I was like, this is easily Willer's favorite character. I'm calling it.
I thought you predicted be Toto. So okay, you know me better than I give you credit for. That character.
I thought you would thoroughly enjoy Toto.
Oh,
I thought you would be a Toto enthusiast.
I am. He's great. And it's not because of the big butts thing. That's just a bonus, okay? It's because of his amazing relationship with Itadori and just how hilarious this is. But Nanami is perfection. Itadori's a great protagonist. I love the theme of the story of a proper death and how that is explored in like every major arc that the show has covered so far. Even the boring guy Megumi, by the end of the arc where you understand where he's coming from, you're like, oh, this is an amazing character. Like, this is the best boring guy that's ever lived.
The best boring that's ever born.
Nobara is a fantastic narcissist trash woman who is just super entertaining. And the rest of, like, the main cast with Panda and Maki... and Panda's not a panda, baby. He's something else. Maki, you got... Oh, dude, the sushi guy? What a dumb gimmick that just works so well. Where he speaks exclusively in sushi terms.
Oh, yeah, that guy's great.
Because he has to monitor what he says. And I feel like I'm missing someone else in the party. There's Gojo, of course, who is delightful.
Weapon Girl.
Yeah, Maki? That's her name, right? Or is that her sister?
There's those other three.
That whole other squad's also fantastic. That arc's great. Oh man, I'm head over heels with this show.
One thing I liked about the season 1 is that we were given information about some characters that we haven't been introduced yet to in the anime. I'm like guaranteed that they've been revealed in the manga, but it's like the third-year students. We do not know who they are yet.
We don't know anything about them, yeah. We saw like a silhouette of them. Also, the main antagonist right now. So there's Sukuna, who is great, and I was so terrified that Sukuna would be like a Nine-Tailed Fox Karuma situation. It is not. The way Sukuna plays off of Itadori is brilliant. That scene where they're laughing is etched into my mind as just an all-time classic, where him and like that other guy are laughing at Itadori. So good. I saw that as a meme, and again, the meme did not do it justice. Something that makes this show, but the other main antagonist, the guy who's like the head of the curses, we know like fuck all about him, but I'm super intrigued.
I think he was like, my big theory is like the shonen style would be he was a Jujutsu Kaisen student who rivaled Gojo. Like that's what the plot is. Like that's what shonen is.
Impossible. No one can rival Gojo.
That's what shonen is, though.
Dude, the blue hair girl who has a crush on Gojo, she's like my favorite of that other squad. She's so cute. But something that makes me love these characters and why this show hits so hard is that the writing, the dialogue is on point. I feel like anime can teeter-totter from like predictable dialogue to very strong lines of dialogue. The dialogue in this show is always 100% like my speed, my style, to the point where like at the end of the season, Itadori and Obara having this conversation in the woods, and it is just like such a quiet, intimate moment. And I'm like, the whole show have had moments like that with characters like Junpei, with characters like stuff with the Mechamaru guy, like just a lot of like really quiet moments that show a lot about the characters, and it just always nails it. And finally, the Juju strolls. Did you watch those? Which are like the little post-credit skit scenes. Those are so goddamn funny. Those are a mandatory watch.
If vote now, do you think what musical part of Jujutsu Kaisen do you think is the best? And is it
ending 1 because yes, it is. Congratulations, you won.
Ending 1 is so good. People talk about opening 1. Ending 1 is godlike, but shout outs to ending 2 because it really hits me in my feels, and I think it's just beautifully directed. It's the one where like they're filming like their day-to-day actions. It's weird that Tyler's talking about opening and endings to begin with. He hates those generally.
Yeah, don't watch those. They're spoiler film. Joe doesn't like this show.
No, I do like this show. I left when we were watching it because I was about to pass out on Willer's couch.
Yeah,
at Disney World.
Because like episode 7's the pop-off chat episode, and I was dying on that bed. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool," and I was passing out.
I was actually watching Jujutsu on a 4K projector, like 100-inch screen before I got summoned.
Yep. Really? Oh, fuck this podcast, dude. Jujutsu's better than
Alright, you said it. I'm out.
No, wait, hold on. Come back. Baby, no. So I'm met with a dilemma. I am in love with this story, but I don't know if I should move on to the manga.
I wouldn't. It's one of those ones that's...
I think I'm going to reread the manga. I just like it that much. And then when I catch back up, I will make the decision again. Because... Madhouse Studios is probably the best animated studio.
It's Mappa.
It's not. It's Mappa. It's Madhouse.
This is their. I think their A team was on this.
Wait, hold on.
No, it's Mappa.
I need a. I could have sworn it was Madhouse. Who animates Jujutsu? Just let me. It's not that I don't trust you. Mappa animated this shit. That's nuts. Mappa. Their B team must have been on Attack on Titan, and Attack on Titan looked great still, but like they killed it here. It looks fantastic.
I can't wait for that show to get wiped off the earth.
Mappa is also doing Chainsaw Man, so I'm wondering what team is on that one.
They just like going for the edgy shonens, man.
They do.
Oh, hey, there's a Jujutsu Kaisen movie. I wonder if it's going to be canon.
Is it canon?
I can't imagine it not being canon. I
don't give a shit about non-canon anime movies. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think they're all bad. I think they're all bad. Except for maybe One Piece Movie 6, which I haven't watched, but I'm holding out that there is one good non-canon anime movie out there.
I just
the My Hero ones are so mid, too. Like,
they're just fun. They're just there for good fan service.
They don't matter. No character development's going to happen.
They don't matter. You go there and go see Luffy go.
It is not canon. It is a prequel movie.
Pass. Okay. Well,
there's a prequel volume. Fun fact: there's a volume.
Yes, it's Jujutsu Kaisen 0. That's the movie.
Yeah, so that is actually canon.
That seems canon. Okay, Tyler, real quick. Eternal Return came out. We've been playing a ton of it. Eternal Return is a MOBA battle royale. We're not going to get too into it because I feel like Bradley would like to talk about this if he comes next time. So just briefly, homework for the listeners, go find out what Eternal Return is because this game is slept on and it's super fun. And I suck at it, and I will continue to suck at it, and we'll go from there.
If your daily games are, if you play competitive games and you need like a twist in your life, if you play MOBAs, try Eternal Return. If you play
Battle Royales,
games, Yeah, if you play Battle Royales, Eternal Return, it's a Battle Royale MOBA. It's not too bad. It's all anime characters. If you need something else, play Knockout City. Also a great competitive game.
Knockout City is fun. Very different from those two, mind you, but very good. We have two topics left in that case because we're moving some to next time. Army of the Dead, which I believe Joe and Tyler have watched.
What a poo-poo movie.
That movie is a waste of 2.5 hours.
Zack Snyder. Why is
2.5?
Why is
2.5?
Why is he so indulgent with his movie lengths, man? I mean, I like Justice League, but like, fuck.
That game, dude, the movie, like, I don't know. There was one cool part in the movie, and it's never addressed.
It doesn't even do traditional zombie movie stuff
which I like that. I find that interesting. Like, here's what I would say. It is a high-quality sci-fi original movie.
Yeah, that's the best you can go for. That's about it.
That really paints a picture.
And what sucks is that, the concept of it is actually kind of neat. Zombies take over Vegas, and Vegas is a wasteland, and people go in to go steal from
and it has it is a heist movie.
It's a heist
get
movie.
That out of the way.
You know what?
Interesting.
That sounds like a great concept.
That's cool.
But it's a heist movie. But it's also Zack Snyder creating a cinematic universe, and here he is slapping it in your face the entire time.
There's going to be like sequels and shit to this?
No. TV show. So he's skipping the first 14 years of MCU.
Okay. Yeah. As he does.
Like, and the worst thing about this movie is that it takes zombie movies and it takes heist movies and puts them together and decides to leave out all the good bits of those two movies.
You know, we watched some Rick and Morty, and there was a heist movie episode.
Yes, they do gather the crew.
Nice. You son of a bitch, I'm in.
But also the worst gathering the crew. It's actually one of the characters
is not in the movie.
Yeah.
No. Willer. One of the characters they CGI animated in. She is not acting with anybody else in the movie.
100% green screen. She never shares a frame with anybody in that movie.
Like, imagine if...
Oh, this is the COVID movie, huh? Like, this is the one.
Well, what happened was they filmed the movie, but then one of the guys violated the contract, had some big controversy, or did not like his pay. So they come out of the movie and they replaced him with some other actress who they just filmed on a green screen and they just had her there. Like,
it's YouTube quality edited in. Like,
that is so bad. That is not good.
They also it's also a beat for beat steal. It's Aliens, the James Cameron movie, beat for beat. They steal shots from Star Wars, Aliens, and some other movie as well. Like there is a scene in the movie where the helicopter pilot, who's not in the movie, by the way,
right?
That lady walks in and goes, "What a hunk of junk!" And it's a shot-to-shot remake of that scene from A New Hope in Star Wars. Like, has the same exact like color lighting, like sand tile behind her, the zoom in, and it doesn't feel like an homage. It just feels like laziness. Like someone just like, yeah.
So Zack Snyder,
I was really excited for this movie because Dave Bautista's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: Bautista is retiring from Guardians of the Galaxy and MCU after the third Guardians movie. I'm pretty sure to do this cinematic universe.
Oh my god! You know what? I can live without Drax.
There's no way.
But that is
I guess so.
No, Drax. No, it's been confirmed that Guardians 3 is Drax's last movie.
Fair enough. Like, his character is not the most interesting.
Let me step back. Let me take a step back. This movie does not come out for 2 more years. Anything confirmed is bullshit. I retract my statement.
Well, you know,
I apologize.
It's a rumor.
But it is a rumor.
We're just talking rumors. We're just having fun. Just a couple guys having some fun. Anyways, I think this is a skip for me, it seems like. Yes.
If you're drinking and like I need something in the background, it's like the Initial D live action movie or this.
I'll do Dragon Quest instead. Oh, that's fine.
You should watch that. That one's fun.
Okay, all right. Finally, last topic. I completed Resident Evil 8.
And Demiscuous.
Dimitrescu.
No, it's Demiscuous Girl. Whatever you are.
I'm all alone, and it's you that. All right, let's talk about Lady Dimitrescu for a second, right?
Isn't she only in like half the game?
Not even.
Let's take it back. Let's go from the start. This game had some of the worst opening sequences of any video game I've played. Just because the confusion and the game design and the messiness of the first big survival sequence is horrible, and it made me not want to play on hardcore, so I switched back to standard because I just kind of Resident Evil.
You knew from the intro that this wasn't going to be worth having trouble over.
Now, the game is much better in hardcore after that sequence, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not particularly like someone who likes doing Resident Evil on the hard. I don't, because I also don't like doing all the searching. I like to do like a healthy amount of searching and just like move. I'm a pacing guy. So I didn't do a lot of the side content. So I feel like that is how I balance myself out in doing standard. After that sequence, the game is phenomenal. Lady Dimitrescu. So the game's structure is that of Dark Souls 1, where you have a central location, your Firelink Shrine, aka the village. The village, mind you, is maybe the most Willer Cancer map layout I have ever seen.
Willer can't read.
I can read the map lies! I swear to God, the map lies! The map
Fun
shows...
fact, Willer is actually Zorro when it comes to getting lost.
Almost went to Miami.
That's different, okay? Look, listen, I'm not the only person who's had this complaint. Joe, you need to play this game, and you would be like, Willer, I judged you too hard.
Give me a fucking PS5, Willer.
Okay, all right. Well, play 7 first. It's super important. I'll get back to that later.
I need you to play 7.
It's always cheap, and 7's a good game. With Resident Evil 8, right, the village, the map shows you like, oh yeah, you just take this road and go over there. And then there's something blocking the road and the map doesn't fucking show it, okay? It's very annoying. I don't like navigating that village. It frustrates me as a Willer person, okay? That being said, the village is cool. I like it. But you're fighting the 4 Lords of Shadows, or the Lord Souls, that's what they're called in Dark Souls 1. You gotta fight the 4 of them. And they are one of my favorite rogues gallery in any video game I've played.
They're like based off of classic.
Do you know them all? Because I did not know them all.
From what I've seen a vampire, which is
Lady Dimitrescu,
Frankenstein, who is the guy with the hat and goggles. And then there is a werewolf in there somewhere that I'm not sure who that is.
No, the werewolfs are the basic enemy. So you know 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
I know 2 of them. Then.
Maybe I'll leave it. Like I do want to talk about them, but I am excited to play this game. I know there's a sequence in this game that apparently is just like we'll get there.
Yeah.
So like Lady Dimitrescu is the first of the 4 bosses that you go through, and her sequence is a lengthy sequence where you're exploring the castle, fighting her daughters, and a couple of ghouls here and there. The exterior of the game's a little ugly at times. Like, it looks nice, but, like, the textures aren't always there. The interiors of this game are next-gen as fuck. They look gorgeous. Lady Dimitrescu Castle is a super fun Resident Evil-style mansion, and it's, like, a good pace. It doesn't overstay its welcome. But you do kill her at the end of it. There you go. She's not there very long. Let me set your expectations.
Shows Capcom did not know they were sitting on a gold mine.
They did. Which is why they marketed the shit out.
The marketing team knew it. And
the marketing team knew it.
It's smart because the game is better. Everyone will agree, the game is even better after Lady Dimitrescu. Like, we were all hyped for her. Not knowing anything that was coming forward made the rest even better. So, like, good on them. But I will say, when Lady Dimitrescu is following you, she is so fucking hot. Okay, I just have to throw this out. I just have to be horny on main right now. If you go in a safe room, Lady Dimitrescu can't go in there. So she walks up to the door with her massive ass and just kind of like hangs out there. And it was genuinely distracting. Look, I'm a controlled individual. This woman's too much.
We had this conversation at Disney.
Did we? Okay, because
we had this conversation about control and oranges.
Shit's nutty, okay?
Yeah.
There's also cutscenes where they're like, check this girl out, man. And then she transforms, and you're like, oh, for some people this will be hotter, but they are weirdos, and let's just be real. She's a cool boss. I like the boss fights in her castle, use the environment super well, so good on that. Then you go into boss number 2, which is a shorter sequence. Boss number 2 is the highlight of the game. That sequence had me fucking shaking in stress and fear. They had no right making PT, but they did. It is a shorter sequence. It's more of a gimmick sequence. Boss number 3 is more of like a little platformy sequence with a very good boss. No, it's good. I like that sequence quite a bit.
Oh no, I'm just terrible at platforming. That's why I said
it's like you're not doing any jumps, but you're manipulating the environment to get around a very precarious location, leading into a very solid boss fight, probably the best of the 3 leading to it. And then boss number 4 is Heisenberg, and he has a massive location. It's like maybe bigger than Lady Dimitrescu, so you go like large, small, large, and people complain that that the pacing is a little off. I thought the pacing was great. I liked the 2 smaller segments because they were more gimmicky, so it didn't overstay its welcome. And then you get to a more like gameplay, like action-oriented section with the final area, but like it was still very tense and scary because like that area has very fun enemies that I don't want to spoil, but like you will feel tense. The mini boss of that area. Mm-hmm. Picture, Airman from Mega Man 2? Airman's maybe you don't. Tyler might. He's a big robot with a big fan in his chest.
Ah, okay, yes, I do know this man.
Now, picture a horror version of that, and you have one of the coolest boss fights in this game. I'm just going to leave it there. Just a little nugget. Heisenberg is... They're all fantastic characters, but Heisenberg cracks me up with his Nick Cage sounding voice and his lines. Is
that the guy with... Is that Frankenstein with the goggles and everything? Okay.
Do you know what his power is? Because
all I've seen is some artwork with him with electricity and gears, so he's either Electric Man or Time Man. One of those two. He
is Magneto straight up. And his boss fight, if I explained it to you, you're like, are we sure we're still playing Resident Evil? And I'm like, yes. And then after you beat them, you have one of the harshest plot twists I've seen this. I was not expecting this game to go that hard. And then you get this very interesting side sequence, and then you get the final boss, which is a Bloodborne-ass boss that was fan-fucking-tastic. One of my favorite first-person bosses of all time. So all that to say, this game is a roller coaster of fun. It is so well-paced. It's just fun sequence into fun sequence into fun sequence, and they're all different. It is so addicting to go through once you get past that first weird, 40 minutes of the game.
I would pay money to see Willer's reaction to DaBabe.
You know what's funny, Tyler? I streamed it all on YouTube. It exists with microphone voice. You can go.
Yes, I will go watch.
You can go watch some of it. You should play this game, Tyler. You would have a blast.
I haven't played a Resident Evil since 4 on GameCube.
Good.
This is 2.
This is a great one to jump off of because it's heavily influenced by 4 and set design.
Wait, Joe, what did you say?
You should play the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is actually one of the greatest horror games I've ever played.
I don't want to play Resident Evil.
Village is a fucking banger. The combat is first person. It's just super solid first person combat. Nothing crazy. It's more about the resource management and the enemies. And just the tenseness of how easy it can be to get cornered and die.
Yeah.
The minor enemies in this game, they move in fun ways that make you hard to focus on them. And Resident Evil first person games and the remakes have a system where if you hold your aim, your trigger becomes a dot, and that attack has more power.
Yeah. And it's more accurate.
So you have to you have to keep calm in these stressful situations, and even when the game is past its scariest part, it will always make you feel tense, and I think that was great.
I feel like that's a good thing because...
But hold on, Tyler, you were going to say something real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask, is Resident Evil 1 that takes place all inside one house? Not 8, but
Resident Evil 1 takes place in the Spencer Mansion?
No, I mean... Oh. What's 7? The recent one that came out that was first person?
Resident Evil 7 was the first person game. It also starred Ethan Winters, who's your protagonist this time.
Oh, I didn't know
that is why it's extremely important to play 7 because...
So I might play 7 because isn't there a VR version of it?
Yes.
I hear the VR version of that is horrifying. So
I might experience that.
I'm going to have to pass on that one. I won't do the VR. I'll play the game.
8 in VR would make my soul leave my body, okay? Let me just throw that out there. 7's already pretty creepy. And, yes, look, 7's good.
Here's how I'll do it, all right? So you watch Nexpo, you turn all the lights off at 3 a.m. and just cuddle into bed, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Phone on under the blankets. I think I might just wait till late at night, all the lights off, headphones on, VR, Resident Evil 7. How does that sound?
I would love to hear your take on that. That'd be so fun.
I'm really excited. I really want to play Resident Evil 8. I could get on a computer, but I know my computer's not going to be up to the standard.
It's got some glitches and frame pacing issues on the computer.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to wait for PS5, which makes me upset. I am starting I've been talking to this about in Free Talk. I totally forgot about it. But I'm starting a Curse of Straw campaign with some friends of mine, including some.
Explain what that is, real quick.
So basically in D&D, you either have a homeroom setting where like your game master makes up the whole world and does their own characters and blah 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 blah. And then there are the modules which are printed out by Wizards of the Coast and basically tell you like, here are all the characters, here are all the locations, here are all the magic items. Curse of Strahd is a gothic horror Castlevania D&D game, where it's basically you have to go around and find the items that go defeat the vampire in the castle.
Cool.
It's got a bunch
of gothic horror. Are we talking about Castlevania?
Sort of. But like the thing is, I've been a very big gothic horror mindset recently. Resident Evil 8 came out, and they did all of that. And I thought it was really funny too because we were playing our 20 questions game, and one of the things I did was werewolf, and it got y'all down to like all the way to the 20th question, the guess werewolf.
Yes.
With all that stuff coming around the corner. But like I really want to play Resident Evil 8. It's on.
I will say that the 8 is really great because it uses several different kinds of horrors. Mm-hmm. Gothic horror is only really in the first and fifth segment of this game.
Which is fine.
There's different types of horrors which I enjoyed as well in the other parts.
Yeah.
Lastly, the last thing I want to bring up is that the story in this game is easily the best Resident Evil story. I gave a huge shit about Ethan. Ethan's such a fucking dork. His one-liners are so bad. You cannot imagine how bad this dude's one-liners are. After like whenever he's quipping against the enemy, he's such a dork. But I think it makes him very endearing because the things this dude goes through are comically horrifying.
I'm sick of bugs.
Exactly. Like that's the kind of shit he says. Oh, you saw the donkey video, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched it.
And that is like that's all over. But he has one line that is like super fire. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And then he goes back to being an asshole. He is a super likable character for this story, even though they go through disgusting lengths to not show his face. Him and Chris Redfield have like a great narrative throughout this game, I think. And the post-credit stinger has me so excited because Resident Evil 7, 8, and 9 are going to all be a trilogy. Cool. And I am so excited where the story is. Like, I got very emotional at a point in this game. I was like, I'm playing Resident Evil. Like, this is a dork-ass world where there's no sex, and Claire and Leon have the dumbest lines, and there's no character motivation. But, like, they really did it. They knocked it out of the park. This is probably my favorite Resident Evil game, up there with 2 Remake, and then 7's like below them. And I haven't played 4 yet, so we'll see where that ends up one day. And I will never play 6 because I'm not supposed to. You don't do that.
6 doesn't exist. They just decide to add.
Isn't that the co-op one?
No, that's 5.
I did play 5.
5 is okay. 5 was fun.
If it was co-op and on Xbox 360, I played it.
Were you in Africa?
Yeah,
that's 5.
That's 5. I played that.
Side note, there's very nice lore nuggets, even for a casual Resident Evil fan. Like, I'm not a very big Resident Evil fan, but the little lore nuggets they drop in the last sections of this game are actually pretty juicy, and I enjoy those.
How connected is like the original?
Extremely.
Okay.
Is there zombies in 8?
There are ghouls and there are lichens. Those are a lot of the basic enemies, but the enemy variety type is great. There's little flying like goblin dudes from Demon Slayer. What are they doing?
So the Umbrella Corporation doesn't exist anymore or have anything to do with Resident Evil.
They super do. Yeah. No.
Okay, well, cool.
Chris works for Neo Umbrella now, who is a organization that takes care of basically this game touches on Umbrella's origins very directly. Cool. And
all right, yeah. I'll get at it. I'll do the thing that might terrify my soul and give me some PTSD and night terrors.
But that's the podcast. We had a lot to cover. We did it right under 2 hours. We take those. Catch y'all next podcast. Hopefully a shorter one. It just so happens that these take forever. Bye-bye.